Every single Monday morning, without exception, the same sound jolted me awake. Crunch, crack, snap. It wasn't the garbage truck rumbling down the street. It was Karen, the self-crowned empress of the HOA, the menace in stretch pants. The woman who, for reasons known only to her, seemed to harbor a deep, personal hatred for my trash can. She'd reverse her spotless SUV down the driveway, with the subtlety of a charging bull on ice skates, carefully angling her tires until they lined up perfectly with my bin. Then came the impact. Thump. Plastic caved in, trash exploded across the pavement, and Karen smiled to herself before driving off. And just like that, my week officially began. Embarrassed before breakfast. Welcome Tummy Channel. Make sure you like and subscribe for premium HOA chaos. At first, I convinced myself it was just bad luck. Accidents happen, right? One time is coincidence. Twice is unfortunate. But by the third Monday in a row, same hour, same spot, same crushed bin, same smug little glance in her side mirror, it was impossible to ignore. This wasn't clumsiness. This was recreation. Some people meditate. Some go for morning runs. Karen ran over trash cans. Mine, specifically. Naturally, I complained. I called the HOA hotline. I took photos of the tire tracks. I even hauled one of the destroyed bins into the monthly HOA meeting, presenting it like evidence from an active crime scene. Their response? A collective shrug and a sentence that still echoes in my head. It's just a trash can. Maybe don't put it so close to the street. Genius. Truly inspired thinking. Next time, I'll try suspending it in midair with magic. The worst part was knowing the neighbors saw everything. No one said it outright, but their faces said enough. Smirks when they watched me drag yet another mangled bin to the curb. Side-eye glances when Karen strutted past like she owned the entire block. I had officially become the neighborhood joke. My trash can wasn't just refuse anymore, it was a weekly show. Meanwhile, my wallet took the hit. $60. Here. $70. There. Replacement bins that barely survived a week before Karen's SUV transformed them into abstract art. And every single time, I was the one scooping up spilled garbage, while Karen acted as if nothing had happened. It stopped being about plastic pretty quickly. It became about principle. Karen had turned my front yard into her personal demolition course, and the HOA stood by pretending they were powerless. They were never going to challenge her. So I put up with it. I swallowed the embarrassment Monday after Monday because, honestly, what choice did I have? But patience isn't infinite, and mine was wearing thin fast. By week 5, embarrassment had evolved into strategy. I stopped viewing Karen's routine as random and started seeing it for what it really was: methodical, consistent, almost ceremonial. She treated my trash can like a stress ball, and the HOA treated me like comic relief. Fine. If no one else was willing to help me, I'd handle it myself. Buying another standard bin wasn't an option. That would just keep the loop going. Each crushed can was another win for Karen and another laugh for the audience. I needed something that ended the game. Something that would make her think twice before turning my property into a speed bump. It began with research. I scrolled through listings for heavy-duty trash cans, the kind used in restaurants or factories. Thick plastic, reinforced walls, decent durability. But plastic was still plastic. I needed something tougher, something that looked ordinary but hit back when tested. Instead of the big box stores, I drove to a contractor supply yard. Stacks of cement bags sat in neat rows like an army. Rebar leaned against concrete walls. Wooden forms were piled beside pallets. And that's when the idea locked into place. If Karen enjoyed crushing trash cans, maybe it was time I gave her one that refused to be crushed. I spent the entire weekend in my garage. I built a mold from leftover wood, sealed it, and started pouring cement bag after bag until the thing weighed more than both of my old bins combined. For good measure, slid rebar straight down the center. When it finally cured, I pulled the mold apart and stared at it. A solid block of concrete masquerading as a garbage can. Still, it had to look right. Karen wasn't dumb. Petty, yes. Oblivious, no. So I painted the exterior to look worn and faded. I scuffed it up, added scratches, made it resemble the beaten-down bins she'd already destroyed. From afar, it looked fragile. Up close, it looked completely normal. Only I knew the truth: heavy, solid, immovable. Sunday night, I rolled it to the curb, grunting as the wheels protested under the weight. It sat there quietly, like bait in a trap, waiting. I leaned back and watched, counting down the hours. Monday morning arrived like clockwork. Birds sang, sprinklers clicked on, and somewhere down the street, Karen's SUV roared to life. I was already posted up on the porch, coffee steaming in my mug, eyes fixed on the curb like a commander surveying the battlefield. My creation sat there calmly, innocent looking, the perfect piece of bait. Right on schedule, she backed out of her driveway, sunglasses balanced on her nose, one hand wrapped around her latte like she was filming a lifestyle ad. Then she noticed it. The trash can. My trash can. Her favorite victim. That familiar smirk crept across her face, the one I'd memorized through weeks of quiet humiliation. She tapped the gas, revving the engine as if this were a starting line. Then it happened. Bam. This time, there was no hollow plastic crunch. Instead, there was the ugly groan of metal collapsing, glass shuttering, and the unmistakable snap of a front bumper giving up its will to live. Her SUV lurched and slammed to a stop. The trash can didn't budge. Not even an inch. Karen's head snapped forward. Her sunglasses rocketed into the dashboard. The airbag detonated in her face with a dramatic poof. For a split second, the entire street went silent. Then came the screaming. She flung her door open and staggered out, hair exploding in every direction, latte soaking into her blouse. "What is this?" she shrieked, pointing at the trash can like it had personally assaulted her. Doors flew open up and down the block. Neighbors spilled outside like spectators at a parade. Phones came out. Cameras started rolling. This humiliation wasn't contained anymore. It was live. Someone across the street yelled, "Looks like you finally met your match, Karen." Laughter rippled through the crowd. Even the usually stone-faced retirees on the corner were grinning from their porch. Karen wasn't amused. She kicked the trash can. Nothing happened. She shoved it with both hands. Still nothing. Her bumper dangled like a loose tooth, fluids pooling beneath her SUV, while the trash can stood tall untouched. Undefeated, I leaned back in my chair, took a slow sip of coffee, and raised my eyebrows like I was just as surprised as everyone else. I said calmly, "Guess they weren't joking when they said reinforced." Her face went crimson. "This is sabotage," she screamed, voice cracking. "He planned this." She pointed at me wildly, covered in latte and airbag powder, her car bleeding onto the pavement. But no one rushed to her rescue. Not today. For the first time, the trash can had won the crowd. And from the way Karen's eyes narrowed, I knew she wasn't going to let it end there. By that afternoon, she'd already pulled the HOA into it. A notice was taped to my door. Emergency board meeting, of course. The Grand Council of Lawn Rulers and Mailbox Enforcers had been summoned. The topic? My so-called weaponized trash can. Karen burst into the meeting clutching glossy photos of her wrecked SUV, waving them like courtroom exhibits. She told her story with theatrical flair, casting herself as the helpless victim of my cruel booby trap. Her voice trembled as she described the emotional trauma and the latte-stained blouse. She demanded fines, maybe even handcuffs. The board looked stern for exactly 3 seconds. Then I slid my own folder across the table. Receipts, screenshots, product listings. You see, officially, I hadn't built anything in my garage. According to my paperwork, I'd simply purchased a heavy-duty reinforced trash container from an online supplier. Industrial grade, weather-resistant, advertised as unbreakable. Completely legal. So, asked politely, "Are you saying the HOA plans to fine me for buying a higher quality bin? One designed not to be destroyed by careless drivers?" I let the silence do the work. The mood in the room shifted. A couple of neighbors struggled to hold back laughter. Everyone knew what Karen had been doing. They'd watched her crush my bins week after week. It was never a secret. Now, she wanted to punish me for owning something she couldn't destroy. Karen sputtered, demanded consequences, but the board's tone had changed. Instead of scolding me, they calmly suggested that she might want to cover the damage she'd caused to my property. That set her off. The meltdown was legendary, arms flailing, voice echoing, pure soap opera energy. And that was the end of it. Like and subscribe for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think Karen finally got what she deserved? Drop your thoughts in the comments.